Man, so today at work, I went to this lady's house. She was the sweetest. We had a really good conversation. Actually, she has two girls. They ended up having seven grandchildren, and now she's also got great grandchildren as well. And we were sitting there talking about. This has nothing to do with the topic that we're talking about, but she was talking about how disconnected her grandkids are from being able to do, from talking. She said, when they wanted to go talk to people, they had to go have a conversation with them. Where all of her grandkids now, they don't like to have phone calls. And that's, to me, that's one of my biggest things. I hate texting. If you ever noticed, I never text you. You always text me and I'll give you short responses.
Yeah.
I always like phone calls. To me, voices are unique and you won't always be able to hear that voice.
Yeah.
And so if I can do a phone call, I always do phone calls. I hate texting.
No, I agree with that. I love phone calls. That Camry can ask, I'm sure it bothers her, but I always call my friends and FaceTime and whatnot. The only reason I text so much is because during the day I literally have no time for a phone call.
Yeah.
Like you text, and I swear anytime you call me, I'm in a meeting.
This guy.
So, but no, I agree. Phone calls are way more personal. They allow you to actually understand what's going on in the conversation. And most importantly, if you're married, phone calls go a long way because you can get very misinterpreted in a text. So one thing I will say, if you're ever arguing, one thing I implemented in our marriage is like, we're not going to fight over text. It's pointless. And I did marry a Twitter fingers, and she'll just start texting me all kinds of stuff when she's mad. I'm like, can we just talk about this when I'm home? I love her, but we're definitely opposites. She wants to get it all out there, and I can like digest it. And
so there's times where me and Kaylee, instead of talking or we're doing something, we'll just talk through GIFs. You know those little GIFs that you
I was like, no, I talk to GIFs.
No, like the
if I mess up, I come home with gifts.
Well, we talk with gifts. I think I need to come home with the gifts, honestly. To where we just have a full blown out conversation, and then we go back on it, and it makes sense. So
yeah, I can get that, but yeah, definitely pro tip: anytime you argue with your wife or get in a fight, come home with flowers and an Amazon gift card, or a Shutterstock. Is that the name of the company?
Shutterstock, is that the one that you can like buy
literally
photos?
Get out of jail free card?
Is that where you can buy photos?
Yeah, because wives love photos.
Huh. No, yeah. Actually, yeah. No, Kaylee does like photos. We don't really print them out though.
No, they get digital ones.
But they can just see it on there?
Yeah, or they get like the canvas, like their wood. They actually look really good in it. So.
Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and start today's show.
No, but I want to share something that happened to me that I'm super pumped about, actually. So I had a friend of mine actually gift me with this really nice like watch, and it actually gave me like chills because he the way it worked out, it basically is this. The Lord's been speaking to me and telling me all kinds of stuff, and he actually brought me the watch and said the exact same thing that the Lord told me in prayer and everything, and man, it literally gave me chills, and it's actually really cool because I don't think I've ever actually had anyone in my lifetime gift me something like this. So it was actually cool to be on like the other side of it, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It was really cool. I was not expecting it, and it was awesome feeling. So it's always cool to feel like blessed like that and not deserving of it at all. So it was cool. Like just out of nowhere.
When did that happen?
Literally like 2 hours ago. Yeah, it was sweet.
What was if you don't mind me asking, what was the saying that?
So the saying was, the Lord's been on my heart for 2024, you're basically saying your time is now. And kind of what we just talked about last episode, just finally stepping into what I'm supposed to be doing with my life and that purpose. Not saying it's like my full called job, but just my purpose as a Christian man in faith and dad. So, and he literally came and said, hey, the Lord told me to tell you it's time. So it was definitely correlated, and the Lord literally told me that last night. And so you cannot make this stuff up.
Yeah.
Like just wild.
That's awesome.
Wild testimony. So super pumped, and it was a great way to start my 2024. 2024 has honestly been awesome. So
yeah, it's been an early start for us. Definitely this 2024 has been crazy. and I can't wait to see what this year kind of turns out.
No,
for everything.
Yeah. No, for sure. Kind of like what Dak Prescott would say.
Oh my God.
Here we go.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah. So today's episode, actually, Zane is going to ask me some few tips, tricks, what not to do's in not marriage, but in our weddings. So he is going to be the host today, and I'm going to be on the hot seat. And my wife is actually watching this right now, so
yeah. So
we'll see how we go.
So is my fiance. That's not my cousin, Kaylee. So yeah, no, there's definitely some questions that I need answering to as we are planning this wedding out.
Mm-hmm.
This has got to be, me and her were talking about it in the truck, and she said it was, what is it, like 276 days?
Is it really?
Kaylee, how many days is it? You can go ahead and say it. You don't have to.
Yeah, you can shout it out.
246.
So 246
they're way off.
days.
That's just one tip.
Hey, oh man, 246 days, and the closer we're getting to.
So 246 days from the biggest race of the year is what you're telling me.
Yeah, basically.
Somehow all my friends get married whenever that matters. So
hey, it's all right. But we're getting married in 246 days, and this has just been a constant struggle. We haven't even taken engagement photos yet.
I can take them.
No, I
Hit
think
me up.
we're actually.
I got that new 4K iPhone.
Did you? Yeah, the new iPhone. What is it like?
I don't even know at this point.
I think it's 15.
They're probably gender neutral. So
it's been there's been a lot of stress coming from it because we end up, as you know, we have a pretty big family.
Yeah.
Between the both of us, our family's pretty big, so we're having to go a little bit more. What are things that you did to help Cambria actually plan the wedding and not make it to where it was just all on her?
So okay, so number one tip, and I made this like a point. So, and hopefully Cambria remembers this because this was very intentional. But so I remember when we first got engaged, I sat down with her like probably that same week, and I said, "All right, so what are the things that you are very excited about doing to plan for this wedding, and what are things that you're not?" And so basically anything she wasn't excited about doing, I tried to help with the most. So I created a whole list of music for the DJ. I went through the whole wedding guest list after she compiled it. She is like, I don't want to go through it. It's stressful. You pick and choose who comes. That was hard for us because I went to a lot of colleges, and me alone, I had over probably 200 teammates.
Yeah.
So I basically filtered out and said, who are my best friends at each school? Those are the only ones coming. So it was the DJ, guest list, and there was one more that she said, just handle it. I don't want to take care of it. I can't remember on top of my head. But that's why number one suggestion, even if you're later into your engagement, is to sit down and be like, hey, what does it sound fun for you? What's stuff that you'll enjoy? And just kind of start taking some of that burden off.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they get super stressed out about wedding night, and we don't. So,
I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the night of.
Yeah.
But the whole, I mean, we've talked about this before. She's thinking what's happening. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, there's another grand.
Yeah.
There's another one. There's another one. And trying to make sure to process that we're, don't get me wrong, we are extremely blessed with the parents that we have that are helping throughout it. But it's still seeing it kind of go away.
Yeah.
And then the times that, to help me out, the times that you did see Cambria kind of stressed about it, what did you do to kind of help her?
At the moment, I would take Kinsey to go do something because we weren't married yet or living together. So I would come over. I could just tell she was stressed out. So I would take Kinsey to shenanigans actually and play games and whatnot. And then on the other hand, I would actually kind of just ask her questions to kind of get her to open up about what she's stressed out about and start helping her find solutions. I mean, we actually planned the wedding pretty much together. I mean, I was in the field at the time, so I was working probably 60 plus hours a week. So when I would get home, there was days where we didn't, but I tried as much as I could.
Yeah, I feel right now there's a lot of procrastination in it. And it's not something that we're intentionally doing.
Yeah.
We're just not getting
in that case, I would say, I know both y'all are both in the season where you're working a lot. I would set on the calendar days where you can like set an hour out where, hey, this is where we're busting out wedding stuff. So then it doesn't feel rushed, it doesn't feel forced. But y'all have it like once a week, kind of like me and Cambria do our financial meetings, set up wedding planning meetings.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, is I have this conversation with technicians all the time who are getting married, and they don't have the fortunate. Most people, the American standard is the wife's family pays for the wedding. Yeah. Obviously, that's not really a thing anymore. It is, but it's not like forced. And I tell them, just remember, the rest of your marriage is based upon the day you get married, and it's a whole lot harder to have a healthy marriage when you start off $30,000 in debt.
Yeah.
So I always tell them that I was like, either way, she's gonna marry you. She's gonna remember it as a day that y'all are forever, and she's gonna remember that she fell in love with you and that y'all are one.
Yeah.
The rest of it, whether there's a DJ, whether there's 20 people, 400 people there, at the end of the day, all she cares about is marrying you. So don't start off your marriage in debt. That's just a terrible thing.
And then how did you and Cambria come together to decide what type of wedding you had? Because there's some people that do destination weddings, like y'all had a pretty good sized wedding that you had. Some people decided to do it really small. Me and Kaylee, I told you, we kind of talked about it. Hey, okay, there's really two ways we could do it, because I really didn't want a destination wedding.
Yeah.
It was either, hey, let's just go get married at the courthouse, and then we go to Europe for a month.
Yeah.
Or we stay here and have a big wedding. How did y'all two kind of come together?
So what a lot of people don't know, because we don't really celebrate it, we take our own private dinner and stuff. But so me and Cambria actually got married at the courthouse, but that was out of respect for Kinsey. I didn't want her to see me living with her mom while we were not married. Because for one, it's just not right, and two, I didn't want her to be 18 one day and move in with a guy and be like, well, you did it with mom, why does it matter? So that was my reason we got married at the court, out of respect and just being honorable of that. But as far as choosing a wedding, I would say I had more of a sway on that, because Cambria basically told me you have way more people involved in your life. Being the fact that I have a way bigger family and way more, I guess, connections through college and life, just pro ball, college ball, everything, milestone, like all of that. So she could argue me, but I would say, babe, how many people we have at our wedding? 210? 220? And how many do you think were my friends from my family? 150? Yeah. So I had the majority.
What?
So that was kind of like the idea is, hey, we have this many people coming. We need to have a centralized location. And the place, what made us pick our venue is actually we were the second wedding ever there. So they gave us a huge discount. They actually gave us Saturday night pricing for Friday night. So.
No, you got that wrong.
Yeah. Friday night pricing for Saturday night. Yeah. That's what I have heard in my life.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's really cool. And that's what we kind of based it on for us. So she's actually going to be the first grandchild to get married on
her so that definitely needs to be local.
And so she was really excited about, her family's been super excited about it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they're doing for us is her grandparents have pitched in, and they're pretty much doing the food. And we're doing like a potato bar.
Yeah.
And this is also just a, great tip for you. So it's a potato bar. We're smoking up some brisket, smoking up some pork, and we're just gonna chop it all up and have just a full potato bar where we can make loaded potatoes on it.
I ain't staying up all night to make that brisket with you.
I'm not making the brisket. I'm not making the brisket, so we're all good. We stayed. Never mind. I'll talk to you after the show. And then just one more tip for you, or one more question for you, maybe a tip that you can give me.
Yeah.
How did you prepare for the wedding the week before?
I ran a lot of calls. I remember that because it was like, I'm taking a week off the next week. So I told her, hey, I'm going to work a lot. I took off the Friday before our wedding because I had a bunch of groomsmen and friends fly in for our rehearsal dinner and stuff. Because I had teammates flying from Wisconsin, California, Louisiana, all over the place. So, man, yeah, I worked hard because the next week was a honeymoon and I didn't want to burn my PTO. But how did I prepare? I wrote my speech for Kinsey and her, or like we didn't do custom vows because I told her I'd start crying. I'm an emotional person and it would just come out sloppy. But I did write vows for Kinsey, kind of, in my mind. And like I said, I started bawling the whole time, so it was pointless. But I basically promised Kinsey, like, I'm here. I'm gonna be here for you for the rest of your life. Like,
I remember
you're
that.
my
It was
girl.
at
It was like a very intimate.
Yeah.
That was like the goal of it. But I'm a crier, so it didn't turn out the way it should have. But how did I prepare for it? I worked a lot. I made sure that everything was taken care of by the time I left. I was communicating with the travel agent, but she sent Camry the itinerary behind the scenes, so I didn't need to. But
that's what I'm hoping.
what I prepared for is I made sure all my groomsmen were ready because they're a bunch of nincompoops sometimes, whatever that word is. They're not anymore, but at the time, all my groomsmen were still in college with me.
Yeah.
Besides like one. So they were still living it up. And so I threatened all of them to say, hey, make sure this is not a Hendrix house party until after the ceremony. So really, I just prepared them, made sure they picked up their tuxes and whatnot. And then I asked Cambria if there's anything I need to do as far as like gifts and all that. So
yeah,
I got their gifts. I bought them all boots.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But well, man, I appreciate you the tips that you've given me. I'm definitely going to be asking you a lot more about it. Because I have a long journey ahead of me as far as this wedding planning goes.
Yeah. Well, the last tip I would give you is, or two tips really. One first tip, as far as it comes to groomsmen, I know you've already selected them, so it doesn't really help. But to anyone out there listening, if you have a point where you don't know who to choose, don't let it affect who you are. I had to tell lots of people who expected to be in our wedding that they couldn't be in it. And honestly, one of the deciding factors is I took in place who would get offended and who wouldn't. And then I had to tell the people who wouldn't get offended, like, this has nothing to do with you. I just didn't want to lose a friendship when I knew this wouldn't affect our friendship. So just set those clear expectations for your groomsmen, because if it was up to me, I would have had probably 15 of them. And then the other one is when they tell you that you don't get to take a breath after the ceremony, it's 100% true. Your food will be cold. Everybody will come talk to you. And by the end of the night, you just want to go home. We had a huge party. It was a blast. We actually planned on our 10-year anniversary to have it at the...
Just y'all two?
No, all of the people that went to the wedding, basically. Or all of our friends. And so we planned to have that at the... venue, so... yeah, eat your food because you're going to be starving. And buy a dress that comes off easy.
Just a little bit, so you know. Yeah, absolutely.
That was one of my struggles. Freaking booby trap. Literally.
That's it. Oh, well, that's all I got, man.
Yeah. Well, no, I appreciate it, and it really is a lot of feedback because there are people out there who might not have dads or might not have anybody preparing for marriage and the do's and don'ts. So I'm here for them.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it. Can't wait to see what this journey brings me throughout this planning.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited for y'all's marriage and y'all's future, and I'm definitely excited about going to Arizona and being warm.
Me too.
So, like always, we appreciate y'all tuning in. This is a Thriving Coach podcast. We're here for men, dads, husbands, anything you need. We're here for you. DM us, message us, subscribe, follow, and let us get you to where you want to be.
See ya.